I think that's what you just called a red herring or something, isn't it? So the question is, what can you see that they can't see?
What I would say is that you should judge people by their previous track records.
Well, I am. Why haven't you taken down that tweet from The Sun about what tariffs really means? Because The Sun withdrew it and it's still on your Twitter account, so I'm judging you by your track record.
Get ready, because what you're about to see is one of the most intense political clashes James O'Brien ever had with Jacob Rees-Mogg. Yes, it happened a few years back, but the exchange still feels painfully relevant today. Why? Because the same tactics, the same dodging of questions, and the same empty promises that defined the Brexit era are the very things that continue to shape British politics now. This isn't just an old debate, it's a window into exactly how we ended up in the mess we're in today. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll see why so many people grew fed up with politicians who refuse to give straight answers. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Now, let's get into it. James O'Brien versus Jacob Rees-Mogg. A showdown that's as revealing now as it was then.
When the vote is lost tonight by the Prime Minister and we go back to Brussels and ask them to do what they've said in very clear terms they're not prepared to do, what happens then?
Well, there's then a choice for the European Union, as much as there is for us, whether we leave with a different deal or whether we leave without one, because that's what the law provides for.
Sorry, say that again. The European Union get to decide what happens to us?
No, there is a choice for both of us.
Oh, so that's not what you said?
No, I said there's a choice for both of us.
Carry on.
Either we have a new deal, which both sides are then willing to accept, or we leave without a deal on the
So that's the option now. The European Union, if they're telling the truth when they say that we're not going to renegotiate anything, we leave without a deal.
But this is a negotiation, so when people say this is our bottom line, it very rarely is. But time will tell.
So how much time have we got?
We've got, 73 days?
Yes, and so, at the end, so you think in the next 73 days the European Union are going to change the negotiating position that has been more or less constant for the last 12 months?
In reality, I think it's more likely that we leave without an agreement and leave on WTO terms. Okay. So that goes back to what we were discussing before.
It does. So you're advocating for no deal. That's what you believe is the most likely outcome.
It's what one believes is most likely and what one is advocating for are not necessarily the same thing.
So what is one advocating for?
I would be in favour of a deal. But if that proves impossible, there is nothing to be fearful about leaving on WTO terms.
Okay, and all the people that say there's a lot to be fearful of, like the National Farmers Union and the Governor of the Bank of England and the CBI, you can see what they can't see, which is...
Well, the CBI's got everything wrong in its history. It wanted us to join the euro, wanted us to join the exchange rate mechanism.
I think that's what you just called a red herring or something, isn't it? So the question is, what can you see that they can't see?
What I would say is that you should judge people by their previous track records.
Well, I am. Why haven't you taken down that tweet from The Sun about what tariffs really means? Because The Sun withdrew it and it's still on your Twitter account, so I'm judging you by your track record.
Judge away. The Governor of the Bank of England said we'd have a technical resection. Thank you so much. Fortunately, you're not a part of the judiciary. The Governor of the Bank of England said we would have a technical recession purely on a vote to leave.
The question is, what can you see that they can't see? And you know that the Governor, I mean, this is so disingenuous. The Governor of the Bank of England dedicated himself on the morning after the vote to making his own predictions not come true. But you know this. You just know that if you say it in a plausible and persuasive fashion, people will continue to believe you, despite the fact that you've led them to the precipice of a no-deal Brexit, which even you know deep down will be disastrous. Unless you can answer this question. What is it you can see that they can't?
You're trying to get up to the adverts with an hysterical diatribe. I think
it's all right. We can postpone the adverts. What can you see that all of the people who warn against coming out with no deal can't see?
I can see what they've got wrong before and why.
I'm not asking about the past. I'm asking about the future. What can you see that they can't see?
The past is a very useful guide to the future because you can see why people are making the judgments. The CBI protects incumbent interests, and therefore it always goes for things that are not for the consumer interest but the producer interest.
Yes, okay.
The Governor of the Bank of England is a deeply politicised figure who has been anti-Brexit from the moment it was proposed. What can I see? I can see the opportunities of cheaper food, clothing and footwear, helping most of all the incomes of the least well-off in our society.
Absolutely nobody agrees with you.
We can cut tariffs, we can reduce costs to people.
Absolutely nobody agrees with you. Even the Sun newspaper withdrew these claims.
It's wonderfully exciting. It's a great opportunity. It is freedom for the British people. It is no longer shackled to the failed economic model of the European Union, which which has the euro and high unemployment and even Germany going into recession. It is a wonderful opportunity for our nation. You should rejoice and be proud at what our country can do.
I was hoping to have reasons for rejoicing at the end of this conversation, so I'll ask you one final time. The economic modelling that you rely upon has been discredited so badly that even the Sun withdrew it. Why do you persist?
That's not true. The advice I take is from economists for free trade and Patrick Minford, who has the best track record of almost any forecaster you can find in this country, and that cutting tariffs does cut prices. That's unquestionably true.
Patrick Minford, let me just write that down. Patrick Minford has the best reputation for economic forecasting.
He got the exchange rate mechanism right, he got the euro right. His record in this field.
Gordon Brown got the euro right. So Jacob Rees-Mogg is the gentleman that said, for Brexit to succeed, agriculture and industry will be decimated in this country.
Won't be decimated.
But he said that, and he's the man you're citing.
That actually it will be an opportunity for us to be more competitive.
We need to be clear. He's the man you're citing, and those are his words.
You're taking one very selective quotation from him. He's actually saying that it's a real economic opportunity.
Did he or did he not say that?
And we'll get fast
Did he or did he not say that manufacturing industry and agriculture would be more or less destroyed?
You've got to put what he said in the full context of the economic growth that we will.
Did he or did he not say that agriculture and industry would be destroyed?
I think, as I refer you to the answer I've just given,
well, I'd like a yes or a no. Did he or did he not say it?
You might like all sorts of things, but
did he or did he not say it?
You're quoting extraordinarily selectively from somebody who has forecast.
So he said it.
He has forecast correctly on the exchange rate mechanism, on the euro, and the opportunities that come from cutting the barriers to trade, which have worked in every country.
Your favourite economic forecaster explained that agriculture and industry would be destroyed by Brexit.
You're completely exaggerating a comment that he made.
So he did say it. So he did say it.
What you're saying is inaccurate.
Okay.
You're trying to spin something.
That's
when he points to it is indeed, yes, it's your reputation.
Absolutely.
But it's a fine one, and it makes good listening.
Yes, so you're not going to answer the question.
I've answered many of your questions.
You have, but here's the last one. Did Patrick Minford, your economic forecaster of choice?
I've already answered that one. I've told you you're doing the classic thing of taking something selectively and out of context to make a wrong point.
Okay, so did he say it or not?
I've just answered your question. I refer you to what I said a moment ago.
Well, just remind my listeners, did he say it or not?
They were paying more attention than you.
I heard you say that he'd been quoted, which would suggest he did say it, but you haven't answered my question except obliquely. So the man that you cite as an economic forecaster to be trusted...
You're so classically inaccurate. I've answered your question merely not in the way
I'm very grateful for your time.
You wanted me to.
Well, no, I asked a question that admits a yes or no answer, and you haven't provided a yes or no answer, so we can at least end on a tone of agreement. You didn't answer the question in the way that I wanted to.
Listening back to that exchange, it's hard not to feel the frustration all over again. It captures perfectly what those Brexit years felt like. Endless back and forth, endless wordplay, and politicians like Jacob Rees-Mogg dancing around every direct question. James O'Brien kept pressing for clarity, but instead of answers, what we got was the same old routine. Dodge, deflect, repeat. And that's the point. This wasn't about debate. It was about running down the clock. It was about sounding confident while offering nothing concrete. And when you look at where Britain ended up, the chaos, the divisions, the broken promises, you can see exactly how this kind of politics helped pave the way. Fast forward to today, and Jacob Rees-Mogg has somehow rebranded himself with bizarre side projects, even dabbling in reality television. But strip away the theatrics, and it's the same playbook. Avoid accountability, never give a straight answer, and hope people eventually move on. The truth is, this clip may be years old, but it's a snapshot of why trust in politics has eroded so deeply. The warnings were there, the dodging was obvious, and the consequences? We're living them right now. Stay informed, stay sharp, and as always, thanks for tuning in.